Well, good morning, everyone. Kristen Crowley, Los Angeles City Fire Department Fire Chief. Mayor Batts and I recently conducted an aerial survey of the impacted areas. Our focus was on evaluating the size, the scope, and the complexity of these fires to gain a full understanding of its total impact on our communities. This assessment was essential as we begin planning and prioritizing resources and support needed to make sure that we can facilitate in the recovery efforts here and now. Our goal is to address both the immediate challenges and the long-term needs of those infected by these devastating events. Yesterday, I also had the opportunity to meet with our international partners from Mexico to express our heartfelt gratitude for their assistance. The outpouring of support from both near and far, I tell you, is absolutely remarkable. I also had the opportunity just to take a moment to talk with people, and I cannot tell you how many times everybody has been asking about our firefighters and our first responders, and they're asking, how are they holding up? I visited our field resources, the Emergency Operations Center, our Department Operations Center, and I tell you, our firefighters and first responders are standing strong. They hold their heads up high, and they will continue to work hard for you. Thank you for your care and concern, and I tell you, our thoughts and prayers holistically are with everybody that has been impacted by these fires. I will now provide just a brief update on the Palisades fire. This fire is now at 23,713 acres with 17% containment, with 5,200 personnel that are assigned to the incident. Firefighters will continue to work tirelessly throughout the day to increase containment lines, prevent further spread, and address any flare-ups. The Hearst fire, 799 acres at 97% contained. Now, to all of those who have lost so much and to those who still have not returned to your homes, know that everybody involved in this incident in the Los Angeles region is focused on you. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the community that has given so much back to those impacted as well as to our LAFD. And thank you to the LAFD Foundation that provides vital equipment and funds critical. They fund critical programs, tools, and equipment to help the LAFD save lives and protect property. You heard Chief Maroney say it already, but I think it's very, very important that I reiterate these points. Life-threatening and destructive and widespread winds are already here. For this significant wind event, we are taking an aggressive lean-forward posture, and the LAFD has staffed all available resources, strategically placing fire patrols and engines high fire risk areas in the city. We are carefully managing our operations to ensure that we can quickly respond to any new fires in addition to the increased call volume across the city of Los Angeles. I urge, and everybody here urges you to remain alert as danger has not yet passed. Please follow all evacuation warnings and orders without delay and prioritize your safety. Thank you. I would like now to introduce our next speaker, Los Angeles County Sheriff Luna.
Good morning, and thank you, Chief. Our Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department personnel deployment stands at approximately 1,300 this morning. And again, remember, we are working different incidences throughout the county, primarily the Palisades fire for the county portion of it, and then the Eaton fire as well. Many of our deputies haven't had days off. They're on 12-hour shifts, so I really appreciate all their work and their time away from their family. We have approximately 234 officers from the California Highway Patrol. Sean DeRee, the commissioner of the CHP, was kind enough to give us more bodies as of yesterday. We also are being assisted by 16 agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration. And they're not working narcotics. They are here assisting us. And we're getting calls from a lot of our law enforcement partners, so we're very grateful that they're here to assist us. We have well over 600 National Guards personnel that are deployed to not only the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department areas of responsibility, but the Los Angeles Police Department, Pasadena, Santa Monica, and other places as well. Evacuation orders. We have approximately 88,000 residents that are still under evacuation orders. And regarding evacuation warnings, we have approximately 84,800 residents that continue to be under warnings. There is a decrease in these numbers, but as our fire partners have stated, it is still very dangerous for the next 24 hours. So we're keeping a very close eye. That's why we have not downgraded the number of personnel. If fire tells us you've got to go here because the wind's blowing this way and we need to do evacuations, that's where we are going. I just want to remind everybody that the last time we had to evacuate people under an order, our deputies very heroically saved many people's lives, and they had to rescue people, and a lot of the people that were rescuing who waited till the last minute to leave the order or the evacuation order, many of them had significant burns on them. I just want to reiterate that when we're giving you warnings, that's the time you should probably think about going. Actually, we recommend you go. Don't wait till the order's given. We don't want you to impact your own life or the life of your loved ones. Repopulation conversations are absolutely active and ongoing. I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want people to start thinking everything's okay now. Everything's not okay yet. We'll get there. We'll get there together. But again, the wind's blowing and it's going to continue to blow. Curfew is still in effect. It was in effect last night. It's going to be in effect tonight again, starting at 6 p.m. all the way to 6 a.m. This is for the impacted evacuation order areas. If you do not live there, have any business there, say this every day, don't go. Why am I repeating it? Because we continue to make arrests for this violation. I don't want to make more arrests, so please stay away from there. We understand that our residents want to go back to their homes, but this is a disaster area. Chief Maroney mentioned it. As soon as it is rendered safe, we will try and prioritize getting you back home. We understand that is important. Regarding arrest, we had a few more arrests overnight. Our total, when I give totals, this is for the LA County Sheriff's Department area only. It doesn't count LAPD, Pasadena, and other agencies. We are up to 39. That's 33 in the Eaton Fire area and 6 in the Palisades area. Eaton, we have 9 curfew arrests and 2 for drone incidences. Please do not fly drones in these impacted areas. And 11 were for burglary in that Eaton area. For Palisades, we have 6 arrests, 3 for curfew, and 3 for burglary. Last night's total arrest, 1 arrest for curfew violation and carrying a loaded weapon. Again, I'm repeating this, and it keeps on happening. If you are carrying narcotics and a gun, you shouldn't do it anyways. You shouldn't absolutely go into these evacuation order areas where there's a curfew with those items, because you are likely going to get arrested by our deputies. They're being very proactive, and you're going to get arrested. Blue collar versus white collar crimes. You've heard it over and over. We're not just looking for burglars and looters committing crimes on the street, but we're also focused on anybody who's involved in any kind of scam, whether you're asking for donations for pets or whatever you think you're doing to make money off of the poor people who've been involved. We're telling you, don't do it. If you think you're a victim of this, notify us immediately. Moving on, search and rescue operations. Based on our grid searches, this is information that when we concluded last night with our search and rescue teams, we have searched approximately 3,654 properties in the Altadena area thus far. Yesterday, we searched 1,800 properties in Eaton. And we also have been working with teams that are coming in to work on the Palisades to begin searching for remains as well. So this operation continues. It's active, not easy work. And the good news was that no other remains were found yesterday. Hopefully that happens again today. We don't want the death toll to continue to go up. So the death toll stands at 21 for the sheriff's areas. Does not include LAPD or Pasadena. That is a total of 16 in Eaton and 5 in the Palisades. We are actively working 24 missing person cases, 18 in the Eaton area, 6 in the Malibu area, all adults. As I conclude, to get any updated information, lacounty.gov for emergencies. That is updating on evacuation orders, evacuation warnings, road closures, and for all of our community members who desperately want to get back into their houses, as we back off of orders into warnings, look at that website. That'll give you the most updated information. And donations, Emergency Network Los Angeles. I continue to be absolutely amazed with our community. All the positives, they want to donate, they want to help. That's where you go. Thank you very much. And I'm introducing the Los Angeles Police Chief, Jim McDonald. Oh, before you come up, just one quick thing, because I'm being asked this question. If a lot of you are concerned seeing police cars up and down our freeways and their lights and siren on, don't let that alarm you. Whether it's sheriff cars, LAPD cars, CHP cars, we're responding in tandem as they're being requested by the incident commanders to respond to several different locations. Those are your tax dollars at work. Our men and women working their butts off. They're getting to one place to another as quickly and as safely as possible. Now Jim McDonald's coming up.
Well, good morning. I just want to let everyone know that as we enter into another period of dangerously high winds, we remain deployed and ready to assist with any additional evacuations should that need arise. While peak winds are not expected to be as strong as last week's wind event, they still pose a tremendous threat. And if you're asked to evacuate, please listen to all evacuation orders, as they are meant as a life-saving measure. As has been the case over the last few days, LAPD is focused on maintaining your safety and the safety of your properties as we move forward. As far as deployment goes, LAPD officers are still performing increased patrols in the areas impacted by the fires, and we ask for your continued cooperation, especially with our officers who deployed at various checkpoints throughout the evacuation zones. We understand the frustration and your desire to see your homes firsthand, but until CAL FIRE tells us that the impacted areas are safe for repopulation, we can't allow you to return. For the upcoming 24-hour period, LAPD will continue to deploy approximately 750 officers to the impacted areas with support from the Los Angeles Airport Police, Port Police, and the National Guard. They have 200 soldiers assigned to the Palisades event, and we're certainly grateful for their support. We're supporting the fire area with these badly needed resources while continuing to respond to calls throughout the city. I'd like to thank our LAPD officers and everybody who's represented by those who are standing here today, who are working on overtime away from their homes and families, going the extra mile to keep Los Angeles safe. On the missing persons front, we're still actively investigating all reports of missing persons and have dedicated resources to these efforts. As of this morning, we have 34 people reported missing. 21 of them have been found safe. Of the 13 remaining, 2 have most likely been found deceased but have yet to be positively identified. 11 remain unaccounted for. In total, 3 fatalities that are fire-related. 1 fatality died at a hospital but was not reported missing. On the arrest front, we've made 14 arrests. Failure to obey curfew were 3 of those. Impersonating an officer, 1. Impersonating a firefighter, another. Unauthorized entry to a closed emergency area, 2. DUI, 1. Vandalism, 1. Possession of ammunition and burglary tools, another 1. Burglary, 2. And conspiracy to commit burglary, 2 additional. We have 3 noteworthy arrests throughout the, although outside the fire zone, very significant to our efforts as we continue to battle fires that threaten our community. On Sunday night, our North Hollywood officers responded to a call of a possible arson suspect who was using a barbecue lighter to light fires. Officers arrived on the scene, and the suspect was arrested for an outstanding felony warrant for arson and booked into Van Nuys Jail. On Monday, 2 additional arrests related to the fires. The first took place at 5700 Van Nuys Boulevard at approximately 16:30 hours. Our West Valley officers responded to a radio call for an arson suspect who had ignited a nearby brush. Upon arrival, LAFD was at scene, extinguishing the fire, and directed the officers to the possible suspect, who was taken into custody there. The suspect was booked for arson, again at Van Nuys Jail. Our second arrest took place at 11820 San Vicente Boulevard in West LA area. Officers responded to a radio call of an arson suspect at the location who had ignited a nearby trash can, which was extinguished by the LA City Fire Department. Citizens directed the officers to the suspect location, where he was then taken into custody without incident. Video from local businesses showed footage of the suspect starting fires in that area. He was booked into our jail for arson. On looting front, excuse me, looting is not just a crime against property, it also takes away any sense of security from evacuated residents, and certainly it's not being tolerated at all. LAPD officers are working around the clock to prevent looting in impacted areas and will identify and apprehend those responsible. However, we cannot do this alone. We need your help. And as you heard from the accounts I gave you, it was residents of our city and county who have stepped forward, made observations of people lighting fires, called the police, we responded, and were able to take them off the street. So thank you for those who have been involved in that, and I ask for your vigilance for as we move forward. We're asking all members of our community to join us in this effort by reviewing your personal security footage, whether from Ring cameras, home security systems, or any other recording devices. Even seemingly small details can make a big difference in our ongoing investigations. If you notice anything suspicious or potentially connected to these incidents, please report it to us immediately, and you can do so anonymously through Crime Stoppers by calling the LA Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or by visiting lacrimestoppers.org. You can also provide information regarding the Palisades fire by submitting tips by texting ATFLA to 63975 and then follow the link to be able to create a report. Our collective safety depends on the partnership between police and our community. Together we can ensure that those responsible for these crimes are brought to justice and that our neighborhoods remain safe. Sheriff Luna talked about the curfew. Likewise in the city, the curfew order will remain in place tonight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And unless you're public safety personnel or disaster workers, you have no business being at these locations. And if you are in those areas, you are subject to arrest. As I've mentioned, we've already made a number of arrests for individuals who are not listening to these orders, and we want to be very clear about that we will find you if you're out there and you will be arrested. Please allow our teams to focus on the recovery efforts. Enforcing a curfew helps us identify individuals who have no businesses in these areas and also protects public safety personnel who are operating in darkness and often very, very difficult conditions. In closing, I want to reiterate that our department is committed to the recovery efforts, and for however long that will take, we will continue to work alongside our other partners to make sure that our community has the resources that you need to recover and ultimately rebuild. Thank you for your patience and cooperation during this difficult time. Now I'd like to introduce LA County Public Health Chief Deputy Director, Dr. Anish Mahajan. Doctor.
Good morning, Anish Mahajan, LA County Department of Public Health. I want to begin by sharing our heartfelt condolences and extending our deepest sympathies to those who have lost their homes and endured profound devastation caused by the fires. Please remember that you are not alone, and we stand with you during this incredibly challenging time. To our first responders, we are deeply thankful for your remarkable courage and relentless efforts in the face of such overwhelming adversity. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge each of our county supervisors, as well as the mayor, for their steadfast commitment and compassionate guidance, as well as the county and city fire departments, along with the many partners whose exceptional teamwork has been invaluable during these difficult times. Now, the impact of the wildfires has been far-reaching, leaving individuals and families not only grappling with the losses of their homes and cherished belongings, but also facing urgent health and medical challenges. Many have been displaced, separated from their usual healthcare providers, and are in need of essential medications. In response, Public Health will be establishing a Medication Access Assistance Service Center at each of the disaster recovery centers starting today. There will be 4 to 5 nurses and 1 physician from each site from Public Health, along with a paramedic team from EMS. Nurses at the sites will assist families with information, education, referrals for clinical health concerns, including getting access to medications for those who lost their medications in the fire by helping them connect with their pharmacy or their usual provider. If refills are unavailable or if they face challenges in connecting, the nurses at each site will connect with the physicians and pharmacists that we have at the Department of Public Health telehealth service to provide new prescriptions to bridge families until they can connect with their usual source of care. For patients needing assistance with treatment for opioid addiction, the Medical Assist Therapy, the MAT consult line at 213-288-9090, that's 213-288-9090, is able to offer these prescriptions and operates 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to midnight. I'd also like to say a couple of words about the high winds that we're expecting in air quality. The South Coast Air Quality Management District has issued a wind-blown dust advisory due to the strong winds that we're going to see starting this afternoon. High winds may disperse the ashes from the Palisades, Eaton, and other fire burn scars. Wind-blown ash from burned structures may contain higher air toxic levels. If you see the ash, take precautions to reduce your exposure. If you're in the area that's impacted by the ash, you should wear proper respiratory masks, such as an N95 or a P100 mask, to help protect you. These masks are specifically designed to reduce the exposure to harmful fine particles found in the ash and smoke, which can penetrate deep into your lungs and cause serious health problems. And remember, ash is not just dirt, it's hazardous fine dust that can irritate or harm your respiratory system and other parts of your body where it lands. Also note that cloth masks, medical masks like the regular blue ones, bandanas, they do not provide adequate protection against ash and fine particles. They're not designed to filter out these hazardous materials. You really need to wear an N95 or a P100 if you're seeing the ash in your area to protect yourself. In closing, I want to once again express our deepest gratitude to the first responders who've shown incredible bravery and dedication during this crisis. Their tireless efforts are nothing short of heroic, and we're deeply thankful for their service. At Public Health, we remain committed to providing support to all those who are affected by this tragedy, whether through guidance, resources, or community collaboration. We're with you during these challenging times. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce LA County Board of Supervisors Chair Catherine Barger.
For wildfire survivors, they need nothing less than clear and transparent answers about how they will be supported through the recovery process. I want to thank Bob Fenton, FEMA Administrator for Region 9, for being here today. I thank you for speaking to my constituents so they can plan the way forward. I also want to make sure survivors know disaster resource centers open today. Disaster resource centers are staffed by local, state, and federal officials who are there to help those impacted by these fires. The East Side location is Pasadena City College Community Education Center, located at 3035 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena. The West Side location is UCLA Research Park West, 10850 West Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles. Both locations will be open from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. today, and then starting tomorrow morning and moving forward, they will open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Details can be found at recovery.lacounty.gov. With that, I'd like to turn it over to LA City Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Barker. Let me just say that yesterday, as the chief mentioned, we did an aerial tour, and I was able to see, it's one thing to see it on television. It's another thing to see it from air. The massive, massive destruction is unimaginable until you actually see it. So I think of the families, I think of the community members that have experienced that, and I just have to say that we are going to continue to stand with you, but while we're preparing for the next couple of days, we also want to move into the time when we prepare for moving forward and rebuilding, but making sure that we can get people's lives back in whole. I have to say that when the aerial tour was finished, and I had an opportunity to speak to the firefighters, including our chief, firefighters who've been on the job for 25, 30 years, to say to me that in their entire careers, they have never seen destruction like this. They have never seen wind so fierce. In Los Angeles, in California, we don't know hurricanes, but imagining a dry hurricane and thinking about what they went through and their lives on the line. From the air, we could see people on the ground clearing brush and doing everything that they needed to prevent the next tragedy. So everybody wants to know how to help first responders. Well, the way you can help first responders, and you've heard this from other speakers, is to be prepared. So if you hear that your area is under a warning, then get packed right away. If the order is to evacuate, then evacuate immediately. But as was recommended earlier, evacuate if you have the warning, because if you remember a few days ago when the fires were at its worst, people had difficulty getting through traffic. So thinking of moving forward, yesterday I signed an executive directive to begin to lay the foundation policy-wise for the rebuilding effort. We're going to make it through these next few days, but we want to begin to think about how we rebuild the massive destruction that I saw from the air. We don't want people burdened by red tape and bureaucracy. So my executive directive addresses that. It addresses streamlining the debris removal. It talks about actually immediate action that we can take to make 1,400 units of housing available immediately. Again, that was stuck in the process, but given what we're dealing with now, that process has to go. And then establishing a framework to secure additional regulatory relief and resources. As was mentioned, the assistance centers will start today. The first ever disaster recovery center for victims of the Palisades and Hertz fires will open, which will help people who have lost vital records, birth certificates, driver's license, Social Security, etc. Help those who have experienced loss or damage to their homes apply for disaster relief loans, and provide referrals. We heard the public health officer say that nurses will be available at the disaster recovery centers, but also mental health counselors will be as well. So for more information, you can go to lacity.gov. So the center opens at 1 p.m. this afternoon at the UCLA Research Park, and starting tomorrow will be open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m., 7 days a week. And that's a commitment that every single day we will be addressing people putting their lives back together. So I want to thank UCLA Chancellor Julio Frank. I want to thank Gary Michelson. The South Coast Air Quality Management District is recommending that Angelenos wear the well-fitting medical grade mask while outside. The City of Los Angeles has distributed hundreds of N95 masks throughout Los Angeles in public libraries, recreation centers, and senior centers, and local nonprofits, and we encourage families to pick up their masks today. And finally, I want to acknowledge the thousands of Angelenos who have come together all across the city to help. I'm sure you've seen on the nightly news, hundreds, thousands of people just showing up with providing resources and supplies for victims. But I also want to thank Disney, Netflix, the Wasserman Foundation, Hilton Foundation, Annenberg, SNAP, and so many others for donating millions of dollars to relief efforts. The California Community Foundation's effort has resulted in $14 million and over 20,000 donors. LA, we stand together. We will do what we need to do to be safe over the next couple of days, and then we rebuild. We will rebuild Los Angeles and make Los Angeles the world-class city that we are. And with that, let me introduce Supervisor Lindsay Horvath.
Thank you very much. As you heard, the Palisades fire updates include 5,100 personnel in the Palisades alone. We are giving this fire everything we've got. This is a particularly dangerous situation from now through tomorrow. The strongest winds will be this evening, and we ask everyone to get prepared now to evacuate. The libraries in Los Angeles County have FEMA staff available until 5 p.m. to provide assistance. If you have received a denial on the FEMA website, do not get discouraged. Come to one of these locations in person to get help. Our disaster recovery centers, as you have heard, are open from 1 to 8 p.m. today at UCLA Research Park West and Pasadena City College as well. LA Department of Public Health is providing medication access assistance at the disaster recovery centers starting today for those who lost medication in the fires. All Santa Monica, Malibu Unified School District schools, Malibu schools will remain closed. All Santa Monica campuses will be open today. I've been in touch with Santa Monica Mayor Lana Negretti this morning, and she is closely monitoring the situation. Topanga Post Office has been relocated to Santa Monica Post Office. Residents can pick up their mail at 1653 7th Street. For more recovery information, go to recovery.lacounty.gov, which is launched and making improvements, adding resources each and every day to provide the assistance you need and deserve. With regard to power and public health updates, over 20,000 households are facing power outages due to public safety power shutoffs. Please take this moment now to charge your phones, your batteries and devices to make sure you have backup. We'll work to restore cellular access, but know you may be without power. Please plan ahead. Tune in to radio given some of the power outages that we're predicting. Please use your resources. It is unlikely that power will be restored in the Topanga area during the red flag conditions, so please be prepared. Los Angeles County Department of Public Health is providing N95 masks at all LA County libraries. Do not drink water warnings for Waterworks District 29. Please know that bottled water is being distributed at Malibu Equestrian Park. Do not drink water warning for 90272 zip code and the area north of San Vicente. Bottled water is being distributed for this region at the Westwood Recreation Center and adjacent to the Brentwood Country Club. Our LA County emergency proclamation will be ratified at our board meeting later today. This cuts red tape for the county to provide resources as well as to receive state and federal assistance. It prevents price gouging. This includes on rent and housing options, which we know have been impacting people's ability to have shelter. It also includes other ways people are taking advantage of this disaster, and these will not be tolerated. This proclamation also declares a local health emergency to ensure continuity of critical health services and ensures continuity of education for our displaced students. It also creates opportunities to secure financial support and resources for those impacted. To stay informed about the emergency, you can go to emergency.lacounty.gov for the latest updates. And I want to echo the gratitude for all those who are on the front lines, as well as their families who are supporting them, waiting for that call. We are giving them all of the support that we have to ensure they come home safely. We are grateful to the volunteers who are showing up, as well as for the additional proclamation by our Governor, Gavin Newsom, expanding a special session to provide $1 billion to augment the FEMA response, as well as $1.5 billion to bolster state preparedness efforts. We are in constant communication with the White House, Congress, and our state legislature. All levels of government are aligned to support our community members. We especially appreciate FEMA being on the ground to provide assistance, and together we will rebuild. Next up, FEMA Administrator Region 9, Robert Fenton Jr.
Well, thank you. Just first like to talk about some of the actions that we're doing to support LA County, LA City, and all the communities impacted. Our first area is focusing on the response and making sure that all the resources are here that are needed to support the firefighting and ensuring that we're reimbursing all the costs incurred with that effort at 100% as the President directed. The second area we're focused on is really helping those individuals that have been impacted by this fire, and that's where I want to focus my comments in the discussion today. FEMA's assistance is now available for individuals and households impacted by the fires within the LA County area. FEMA has expedited delivery of serious needs assistance. We've already had over 40,000 applications and provided over $8 million. The serious needs assistance is a one-time payment program to help survivors cover costs such as water, food, infant formula, gas, etc. that you may have had since having to be evacuated for the fire. Other forms of FEMA assistance include help with transportation costs, medical bills, personal property, and even, unfortunately for some, funeral costs. FEMA will also help with temporary housing, which includes rental assistance, hotel rooms, and other resources, home repairs, and displacement assistance. I encourage every head of household to apply to FEMA assistance. Not every member of the family has to apply, just the head of the household. And if you're renters, where there's multiple renters for a property, as long as you're each on are renters, you can each apply individually. If you have been evacuated and received damages from this fire, go ahead and register at the disasterassistance.gov website. You can call us at 1-800-621-3362, or you can use the FEMA app to register. If you are affected by the fires and have insurance, you should contact your insurance company and file a claim first before coming to FEMA. After you receive your settlement, contact FEMA if you have unmet needs. You need to submit your insurance documentation to receive any FEMA assistance beyond the serious needs assistance if you were insured. FEMA assistance is not a substitute for insurance and cannot cover all the losses caused by disaster. FEMA assistance is intended to really cover your basic needs and help jumpstart the recovery process. Thankfully, to recent legislation, now changes have occurred that allow FEMA to assist those that are underinsured. However, our maximum grants are $43,600, and there's two different categories for those. So that is the maximum assistance we can provide. There's other federal agencies, such as SBA, they could do low-interest loans, and there'll be other forms of assistance to help with some of those unmet needs. We have FEMA staff at various sites across the community to help you apply for FEMA assistance. and are embedded in the first 2 local disaster recovery centers opening today at 1 p.m. Again, if you're going to go to the recovery center and seek assistance from FEMA with your application, I'd ask that you start the process and register online so our individuals can help you with your application and bring your registration number and any identification you have. I'm working closely with the state of California and local partners to assess the ongoing situation and determine what other FEMA support may be most effective to the communities that have been impacted by this fire. One of the things I wanted to address, and the sheriff talked a little bit about it earlier, is fraud. And unfortunately, we see it common after disasters. Why we hope the best from people. Unfortunately, there's some out there that have other objectives in mind. And so please go ahead, and if you hear of fraud, communicate it. Anyone representing FEMA will give you identification if they are talking to you about your application. And we recently launched a rumor webpage on our disasterassistance.gov webpage, and you could go into it and just search common rumors. And there's a list of rumors that are out there right now. I just want to address a couple of those. One of them is that we will provide vouchers to help you with housing. All the assistance we provide is financial assistance, and it'll be directly deposited into your account. So we don't provide vouchers. There may be other organizations, nonprofits, that may provide some type of voucher, but we don't at FEMA. Another rumor was that we will cover 100% of the uninsured costs. Again, we provide up to 2 grants at $43,600 is the maximum assistance we can provide. The state, if you receive a max grant, adds $10,000 to that. There's other federal agencies that can provide assistance above that, but we will only help those that are underinsured, and we can't duplicate benefits from those that are insured. The 100% in the President's declaration was specific to emergency costs for fighting the fire and for the debris removal, which we'll be focusing on in the days ahead, as the mayor outlined in some of her executive orders. And then everyone needs to go ahead and submit an application in order to receive assistance, and needs to make sure they have a registration number, and if you need help, should go to those recovery centers. Lastly, we continue to financially support all the costs associated with the response to the fires, and we have every federal agency here with us available to support any needs that the state, the county, or the local communities affected in the city have. With that, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, and Chair Catherine Barger thanks the following elected officials for being here today, showing up and showing their support. We have Los Angeles County Supervisor of the 1st District, Hilda Solis, Los Angeles County Supervisor of the 2nd District, Holly J. Mitchell, Congressman George Whitesides, and State Senator Sasha Renee Perez. This is the end of our press briefing. We will do one-on-one briefings. There will be a press gaggle for City Mayor over here on my left. And for other one-on-ones, please approach and we will connect you to the appropriate speaker. Thank you.